Hi, everybody. Tim here. We are super excited that you're listening to our Star Wars podcast. We want to thank you for listening. You can also listen to us on our website, thepolyhedronsociety.com. You can download it off of iTunes and SoundCloud. In addition, please follow us on Twitter at The Polyhedrons and like us on Facebook, and we'll soon be showing up on Tumblr and Reddit. A couple things I'd like to point out here. First and foremost, no one sitting at this table, no one rolling dice, none of us are professional actors. We don't do improv. We're just a group of people who game. That's the most important part that you guys need to realize. And sometimes we make mistakes. Sometimes we make mistakes with the rules. It's going to happen. If you're a gamer, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So if you hear anything that's odd or you have questions about, feel free to hit that website, thepolyhedronsociety.com, and send us a message. And now I'd like to introduce a segment that we refer to as Dice Matters. This is basically a rundown of dice mechanics that are taking place throughout the particular episode. We didn't bog down the actual episode with talking about rules and stuff. For the most part, we wanted to keep it on the front end, kind of like this. And we may end up doing other segments that'll expand upon that. So the first one we want to do is obligation, mainly because it shows up for the first time in this second episode. Most campaigns or storylines, when they start out, the very first episode, you skip that part of the game, the obligation. In the second episode is when you make your first roll. So I want to talk about obligation for just a couple of minutes here. Obligation really defines a character's role in his background. So for example, let's use Han Solo. Han Solo had a massive obligation. He had debt to Jabba the Hutt, and he had a number associated with that, which was basically like the rank. So we'll say Han Solo's obligation was 10. During every episode or every session that you play, the GM will roll the total group's obligation. Each character will represent a piece of that chart. So if you have one character who has 10, he or she would be 1 through 10. The next character has 10, then he or she would be 11 through 20. You roll the percentile dice. If you get that particular character's number on the chart, that particular character's obligation triggers, and it has some repercussions. First, and most importantly, that character's obligation comes into play into the session in some way. It could be Jabba shows up with his henchmen to take Han's lunch money. This has a couple of effects on the character whose obligation was triggered. The first and foremost being he suffers a 2-point strain reduction for the rest of the session. His compadres, the other folks in the crew, would suffer a 1-point strain reduction unless double numbers are rolled on the dice. So if your obligation is 11 through 20, and you roll an 11, that's a 1 and a 1, then the strain reduction would be 4 for the triggering player and 2 for his crewmates. Also, very important to know that obligation needs to be reduced in some way so that a particular obligation would go away, so that you can give them the players opportunity to get a different obligation should they want one. Obligation never completely goes away. There will always be a 5% obligation there, even if it's nothing specific, but it's still there. We hope you enjoy this particular segment, and if you have questions or concerns, you can consult your rule book. You can always contact us on the website, and we'll be happy to try to answer your questions.
A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, Star Wars Episode 2, Farm Life. Trying their hand at a salvage operation on Cassadine, the crew of the Last Ride meet with some ominous rivals. Ill-equipped to salvage the abandoned mining equipment, they decide to try their hand at searching for the lost miners, making contact with the local hydro farmer and former Imperial Senator Del Malvo in hopes of using his farm as a base. The crew learns about the dangers of Cassadine.
All right, so the first thing we need to do is let's go ahead and roll Destiny. Cody, what'd you get?
1 dark side, sir.
Claire?
1 light.
Steve?
1 light side.
So woman.
And Jeremy?
1 dark side.
Wow, a small Destiny pool. 4, 2 dark, 2 light. Nice. Also, since this is the second episode, we will be rolling for obligation. Dun, 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 dun. All right, I think we're good. It's always Dr. Riskers except for today where it's nothing.
Oh, thank God.
No obligation triggers.
What are the odds?
Well, it's better when you only have 4 people and the numbers are relatively low.
I don't know. I feel like you just put Dr. Riskers, nothing, Dr. Riskers, Dr. Riskers.
It's just random. All right, so where we left off last was you guys were at the Malvo farm inside, having some conversation with the Malvo people.
I went to go treat that one guy after asking Lan for permission.
Yeah, and we'll probably skip ahead to where some of that stuff's kind of out of the way. You know, they've got him in the infirmary. It's not a high tech. You know, think of a Fringer type atmosphere. So it's not real high tech. There's not a whole lot of medical equipment. I'm pretty sure the stuff that you have in your personal bag is probably more high tech than the things that they have. But at the same time, the main living people that are here are only the family or the relatives, like the people who are married in. There's a few farmhands, but most of the workers that they have are droids. So I guess the need to have a big medical facility here is not very high. They probably roll into town to seek professional medical care should they need it. But you're able to patch this guy up pretty good. He's not unconscious or anything. You know, he's aware and in pain and that kind of stuff. But you're able to patch him up and get him feeling better. And
lots of bed rest.
Lots of bed rest, that kind of stuff. Now, as you guys wonder about the compound, that large domed or cylindrical shaped barn that you guys saw is more of a workshop inside. That's where they park their vehicles, and they've got several land speeders and an air speeder and a truck. And there's also that's droid storage. Basically, when the droids aren't out performing farmly duties, this is where they park them, and everything's right there in the motor pool, so to speak. Right?
He's sitting on the droid's shoulders and there's a stick shift coming out of his
And then that's also where any repairs that need to be made, they can make, you know, they can do whatever service they need.
I like pit droids that when you're done, you can collapse them up and just stick them back on the shelf.
No, but I'm pretty sure some of his inventory would behave in such a way. Not like every one of them are pit droids, but
I love the concept of the collapsible droids. You just, you're done. Put him back on the shelf.
Yeah, I like pit droids too. I really do. But that's where they repair and they store them there. And then you see people. You know, there's probably the family, which is 5 people plus the son-in-law, and then there's probably 10 other people that are actual workers, and then some of them have families, you know, with kids and stuff. So as Dr. Risker is moving from the infirmary back to the main house, you know, there's kids out running the little pathways up the main strip of the complex, you know, kicking like a ball.
Aww.
You're able to hook back up with the rest of the group who are sitting around with the former Senator Del Malvo.
Have you tested the flowers for medicine? Are they able to be made into anything other than the spice?
You know, I haven't even tested it to see if it can be made into spice. I just know that that's what they say. So, no, I haven't tried any of that.
Well, would you mind if Dr. Risker took a look at it and maybe tested it?
No, not at all.
Okay. Now, since we're doing this research for you, I do know a guy that might be able to take these off your hands at some point. Of course, there may be a finder's fee for us for doing the research for you and setting that contact up. We can talk about it later, though. No pressure.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
So, you were talking about some sensors you were having issues with. What were the details on that?
Yeah, they're set up a couple kilometers out from here, and they ring around the farm, and they basically are like motion detectors, and sometimes if the cameras are working, we can tap into the holo feed and kind of look around, but those don't always work due to inclement weather and vandalism. So it's just kind of like a pre-warning system. It just lets us know when things are moving into the vicinity.
Are they working now?
Yeah, they're all working now.
Great.
But I understand that you're, from what you said earlier, that you are looking for the miners, right?
Right. We had been told that they had been taken. They were in this general area when they were taken. And we were wondering if you might know anything about that, or the people that are, I don't know if you could call them people, the Scorn.
Oh, the Scorn. Yeah, those ain't people. Sand devils is what those are.
Any information on local Scorn?
Well, no Scorn is really local. For the most part, they're nomads. They just, travel seasonally. But
You have seasons here? I kind of look around at desert in every direction.
yeah, you're in, ironically enough, you're in what the locals call the monsoon season right now.
Huh.
It's just a different kind of monsoon than what you're accustomed to, I suppose.
Oh, the giant sand wall. I get it.
Yeah.
Monsoon.
Those were water. I think, all right, one of us clearly don't know what a monsoon is. It might be me. But I thought those were water.
He said a different kind of monsoon.
And while we're on the subject of that, we got these rivers too that are just more sand, surrounded by sand.
It's like wet sand. Here, come on, I'll walk you out. You can see.
All right.
Anybody who wants to go, he takes you guys out of the compound. Actually, he takes you over to the hangar or the barn and puts you guys. He's got it's a 8-seater air speeder, right? Or land speeder, right? And anybody who wants to go, you guys load up in the land speeder and
I get in the back and it tilts back.
drags the
I
ground.
will take a window seat and I will immediately
It's an open canopy.
Well,
right?
then I have my tongue ready, hanging out.
To
everything.
eat as much sand as I can.
Yummy.
They're not a windshield because I can't remember
Yeah,
the old.
there's
There's
a
got to
windshield.
be because you'd be beat to death by sand.
or worse.
A bug put your eye out.
Right. So he loads anybody up who wants to go and basically drives you down to the river.
Right.
And once you guys get down there, you guys climb out and
Splash around.
well, think of basically a big flow of quicksand. That's you can actually see it moving. You can see that it's wet, but not like it's a river in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Wherever, and you can see the line where it's wet, but up where you guys are, even though the sand is wet, it's not moving until you get closer to the center of the river. And wherever you step, your depressions, water comes up. I mean, it's a small amount of water, but you can see it there, and it quickly seeps back down into the sand. And then if you were to wade out into the quicksand, think of the sand replacing like water in a river, and you can see it's flowing at a pretty decent rate.
All right. Well, seeing this, then I'm gonna get down on my knees and I'm gonna take out a little vial. I'm gonna press down on the sand and like take a sample of the water, just because I've been told to check out the plants. I might as well check out the water.
Okay. And he's like, this right here is where we get all of our water. We pull it through the cacti's roots, and then we harvest it up there, and purify it and all that good stuff. And then, because this is a lot easier to do it that way, the cacti really does all the work as far as pulling the stuff up, the water.
Huh.
Plus, it's more dangerous down here than it is up there. So that's why we don't really harvest the water that way. Plus it's more expensive. It's just easier. Like I said, the cacti does probably 90% of the work. All you have to do is purify the water and bottle it or put it in a container and take it to town.
So back to the miners.
Oh, yeah. And you guys are getting back into the speeder.
I hate this planet.
I know.
You think you'd like it because it's so hot and warm. You're a lizard.
I don't like how any of it works. It doesn't make sense. I don't understand.
Don't insult the man and his planet.
I don't mean any disrespect. I don't like it. I don't have a problem with you. I don't like the planet.
Okay.
So, the miners.
The miners. Yeah, and I can drive you over there. There's a large strip mine, probably 10 or 15 clicks southwest of here.
Which is where we flew from.
It is very familiar to you.
No, that's
where they
not
were.
necessary. That's not necessary at all. We've been there. We were just hoping that maybe you had heard something after they had been taken from there. These Scorn, do you think they kept them alive? Do you think there's any possibility that they're still alive?
It's been a few days. Probably not, to be honest. They probably ate them.
No.
And that's a sad reality. That's why they're such
Beasts.
Yeah, beasts. They're very barbaric.
Well, there goes our payday.
I mean,
Payday? There goes their lives. Those poor
That's
people.
exactly what I meant, Dr. Risker. Exactly. You're so right. I can't believe. Yes, you're right. Exactly. It's horrible. It's a horrible thing to do to the person.
I can't tell if he's telling the truth or not, honestly. Nikki, no, what am I saying? I'm sorry, Lan. I misinterpreted what you meant. I suppose just the shock of hearing this is just those poor people.
We knew that was probably going to be the case before we came out here, but
Well,
it was human lives or whatever. Their lives are worth the risk of this, so we were going to try anyway.
Well, maybe we should get your samples and go back and start looking for them again.
You mean check out the flowers and...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grab your flowers and then let's get back on the road and see if we can't find them.
Well, I should have the equipment on the ship that'll allow me to analyze the flowers properly, and I do have the water. The cacti, what kind of soil do they grow in exactly? I mean, is it just like anywhere around here, or is there a particular kind of fertilizer you have to use? I mean...
Well, no, I mean, they just grow naturally here.
Out of the sand.
Yeah, out of the sand. Now, we've tested the sand and stuff. There's like a strong iron content in the sand, and I'm not sure. I'm not a botanist, believe it or not. These things pretty much grow here. They're pretty hardy, but I've known people that try to take them off planet and they don't survive. So I don't know if it's a...
Well, considering the extreme conditions of the planet, I mean... It makes sense that they wouldn't be able to grow anywhere else. I mean, you'd have to have the right environment. But yeah, if I could have just like a few, maybe I suppose 3 flowers, I'll be able to do different kinds of tests to see what I can do with them.
You'll probably need more than that.
Well, we're just doing tests, aren't we?
Dozens of tests.
Well, I mean, I suppose I can try and... I suppose a dozen, then, yes, if it does go wrong. So I don't really know. I'm not a botanist either, but I am able to...
The people at home didn't get that joke, but
Draco's reaching for his blaster.
even the doctor, a mighty dirty look, 'cause he doesn't get it.
When does Risco's get anything?
Okay, Draco, I'm going to need you to make me a deception check.
Should I also do it?
Sure.
I'm kidding.
Your difficulty is going to be
He is a senator.
average. No, it's going to be above average. It's going to be hard, upgraded once.
He's a senator. He's used to...
Yeah.
Used to bullchickery.
And I will go ahead and flip Destiny to upgrade the difficulty again.
Do I give him a boost die because I'm being honest?
Do you give Draco a boost
I
die?
don't think
Yeah.
that works.
I think
Whoa.
you should probably give him a setback die the way you're arguing against him.
That would make more sense, really.
Go ahead and
no.
take a setback because Dr. Risker's trying to keep you honest.
I'm so sorry.
Even though Dr. Risker doesn't know, he's trying to keep you honest. Let's see what happens. Get off my farm!
This is going to be a fun conversation when we get back to the ship.
Upgrade or not to upgrade?
All right.
And I don't think it's going to matter.
Can someone
wanna have
please confirm? Do Bothans
critical
have
failure.
more than one life? I need to know.
Oh,
I
yeah.
believe that would be Tuca.
Well, let's see.
Did he do it?
That looks like a despair.
A
does look like
despair,
Oh no.
equivalent 2 failures and 3 advantages.
Well, he
So-
didn't shoot you, but
He doesn't like you.
he's still going to have to ask you to leave.
We are not getting the flowers.
Draco's equivalent of subtlety is, trust me.
Well, I don't want to offend anybody, but I don't really feel comfortable
Giving it to a smelly, stinky roadie.
of
Whoa.
taking, this stuff off the farm. So I'll let you run tests on 1 flower here, but I don't feel comfortable letting you leave with it.
Suppose it'll work. I'll have to just make
Fair enough.
the smaller sample size. It'll be difficult. How big are the flowers?
He holds his hands up and shows you a size that's about the size of a saucer.
That's a really big flower.
Not a space saucer. Plate saucer.
Right, a plate saucer.
Realistically, is 1 enough to test? 3 would be better.
Well, we're trying to search for medicine. Sorry, the sand in my mouth. It's just
Yeah.
bleh, 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 bleh. she says is a nice cover for not being able to speak the English language.
It would have worked had you not added that part.
I don't care. Y'all were laughing because you knew. Now the audience knows. Let them in on the joke. Okay, well, if we want to find different effects, it probably should have at least, well, that size, 2 would probably be the preferable, because then I'll have to first figure out what kind of properties the plant has beyond its growth, if it can be applied to different kind of
Right. Okay, we've got it.
Oh.
2.
I can do everything here. You can even have someone supervise me. I mean, if you prefer that. I don't mind.
I could be okay with 2, but I want to. It's probably not the right place since I'm outnumbered 4-1 out here, and we're in the process of driving back. But he says, I just please don't treat me like I'm stupid. And he cuts his eyes towards the Rhodian.
Draco will just
Shrug
and walk back to the vehicle.
I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but I've been in the political arena for some time. I may just be a podunk farmer / former senator from a backwater planet like this that's, a speck of dust in the grand scheme of things in the whole galaxy, but I'm also, just like you, Captain Kai, I spent many, many years on Coruscant, and I recognize when people are trying to take advantage. I'm not saying you guys necessarily, but your Rhodian was trying to take advantage of my being naive and take more than
Draco was?
He's really not that bad once you get to know him.
I understand, and again, I like you guys.
Good, I don't have to make a bluff check on that?
Nope.
Okay, good.
And I like you guys, and I don't know what your plans are long term, but if we can work out mutual business deals or whatnot that's beneficial to both groups, then I'm more than okay with that. But
that would be lovely. I really like it here, Lan. Have you?
I give him the craziest look.
Well, it is lovely. I mean, the farm is so well maintained, and the flowers are really pretty, and the sand. And he holds up the bottle of the sand with the water. This is fascinating. This is just... Have you seen this up close? It's just so cool.
Have I seen the sand up close?
Well, I mean...
Yes, Doctor. I have, in fact, seen the sand.
This is different.
We're in a desert. The entire planet is a desert. Sand, there's nothing but sand.
It's not true. Dell chimes in. Nobody in their right mind, no god in the entire universe would make a planet composed of one single element. One biome. The whole planet is just one biome. That's ludicrous. We have volcanoes.
Oh, goody.
So, you guys pile back up into the land speeder and re-enter the compound, and he parks the vehicle and you guys get out, and he's like, so what's the deal? What are we going to do? You're going to check the flowers.
Yeah, I'll go get my equipment. I'll probably need somewhere that's a little bit contained, just so nothing can get into my little experimentation here. I don't know, a little office space.
That way no one interrupts her mad science. By the way, it's a good thing this guy's a senator, because otherwise we would give him the worst whiplash. Oh, we'll help you from your crime lords. By the way, can we take some flowers to sell to the crime lords? I hear you got a scorn problem. We can kill them. We're not the violent type, but I heard you had some survivors we're looking to save. Let's do some crazy mad experiments on your plant stuff.
Oh, man.
We're picking up all the side quests at this farm.
Yeah, we are.
I know, right? But that's good, because it gives us more material.
And all that experience. Unless we're playing Skyrim, then we get no experience for finishing a quest, just rewards.
I give experience, just no rewards.
That's true.
That's true.
As it always has been.
I will always wear this vomit-covered jacket for the rest of my days.
You know, they have washing machines in the Star Wars universe.
For the rest of my days.
Let's go down and why don't you go wash it out in the sand river?
Oh, wait.
Because it's sand.
It'll get sand on it. It's not sand washable.
It's sand clean only.
All right, but
Oh my goodness.
I am not a botanist either. The cactus, they can grow anywhere on this planet.
Except the volcanoes.
Yeah.
Because just from our conversation earlier, the way you were talking, it made it sound like they could grow anywhere. If that's the case, why are these guys so insistent on this particular place? You know, if they're trying to buy you out or force you off your land or whatever,
maybe this.
what makes this place special?
I don't.
Well, if considering the growth of cacti around here, I would assume it's because this particular plot of land has more iron, thus produces more. I suppose, what would you say, product per season?
Yield.
See, I'm not a farmer,
That went over my head.
but that's just my hypothesis.
I thought it was just control.
It's really strange because the cacti have been here for a while. They've grown in these particular spots. They're fields. You know, they're pretty good sized fields. They're not widespread across the entire planet. So it's obviously something like the good doctor said that contains them to this particular location. But it's only been within the last probably 2 decades that the cacti started producing flowers at all. And then probably within the last
Like in the history of ever?
Yes. Yeah.
That's weird.
There must be some kind of change in the environment that could have done that. Something in the protein?
We had some Republic scientists show up before the Empire became what it is. And they did some sample searches and, you know, poked around and stuff. And they believe that all the strip mining and all the tunnels that were dug put oxygen below the surface of the planet. That mixed in with whatever they were digging up made the soil rich in oxygen, and it's created a spurt of change within the cacti. That's what they speculated.
I really want to research the flowers. Can I do that? Is that a thing I can do right now? Because this is just fascinating.
Yeah, he gets his daughter, Saren, to take you to where they basically process the water.
Okay.
And it's almost like a lab. It's not like, you know, like a hospital lab or anything, but, you know, it's a pretty nice place, relatively confined and relatively sterile. Since all the purification process takes place within a machine, the room doesn't have to be like, you know, completely sterilized or anything. It's all stainless steel, you know, when you go in, and you can hear the low drum of the machines doing their business. She's like, you can set up over here.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. And he gets out his little bag and he starts setting things off. He takes off his like big lab coat, and as soon as he does that, like sand just pours out of the sleeves and like his pocket, and he kind of like shakes his head like dogs do, and more sand comes off him, and he clears that off the spot when he realizes he's made a mess of the nice stainless steel table, and then he begins to work.
Okay, so as you're taking off your jacket and create a minor catastrophe in here with all the sand and stuff, you begin to lay your instruments out. The girl, Saren, returns, and she's got a freshly cut bloom. And you know, passes it to you. It's very similar to an R2 unit, but it's much older. Maintenance droid, cylindrical shape like that, comes out and begins to clean up the mess that you have made.
He kind of notices, and then he's like, as his eyes get big, as he realizes, and he looks to Sarah, and he's like, I'm sorry, I kind of forgot that I'm a bit of a mess.
The droid just beeps and whistles at you, and you know, you've got a couple instruments on its chassis that flash and light up as it does. It just looks at you with the blank expression of a droid.
Well, I was talking to Sarah.
Oh, she left.
Well, never mind.
So you say that, and you turn around and look, and you realize it's just you and the droid.
Oh God, play the sad music already. Oh, I am Ronry. It's because Lan's here.
Oh, what?
What?
Yeah. Every time we go somewhere, someone has to hit on someone's daughter, and who is it? It's Lan.
he hasn't hit on her yet. Plus, I think she's married.
Are we sure? Have we checked?
There's a son-in-law.
There is a son-in-law.
Oh, well, I assumed that there were more than one daughters.
There could be more than one daughter.
See, so it's still pliable.
I don't know his business.
Anyways, I'm gonna do work the flower.
Okay.
What do I do? Roll for that? Would it be education?
I'm gonna go sand fishing.
Yeah, I believe it would be education.
I should go pick some flowers.
What would be my difficulty?
You know,
here?
if you wanted to start a fight, we could. There are lots of other things on this planet other than a senator.
I wasn't trying to start a fight.
He's going to like
Just trying to
shape.
get some material.
It'll be hard.
Some material.
All right, can I have a boost die because I have all my little equipment to help me?
Sure.
Yeah. Bleep. Oh, well then. That is not a difficulty die. Oops, I rolled a 3. What does that give me?
All you got was a threat?
No, I rolled
3. She rolled one of her percentile dice by mistake.
let the record show that I am blind and
Blind.
accidents happen. Okay, what did I get this time? Whoops. Oh my god, I think... Okay, wait a second. I got a success.
A success?
A success.
And what were you attempting to do again?
I was going to examine the properties of the plant and see if it has anything pliable to, like, medicine.
Medical applications.
Yeah. So if it can be used to help against infection or...
Because, I mean, it would make sense that if it has, like, if it can be used as a drug of some sort, they would have some kind of pharmaceutical application. Because, I mean, it's like even meth has pseudoephedrine, kind of like, you know,
Right.
cold medicine, ADD medication.
Founded in
It'd have some sort of...
I
true medicine.
guess then going by that, I would have to use my knowledge of spice to figure out, like, reverse engineer it to make it more pliable to... Not that Dr. Riskers has ever done spice.
I'm going to need to do the drug so that I can figure out how it works.
This is for science! That's good science.
So, what does spice do?
Okay, so spice is as everybody in the galaxy knows, it's a catch-all term for drugs, basically. From what I understand. And these particular properties probably does have some medical purposes because it's and when I made it up, I'm just going to explain, I had to give it something that makes it desirable to use. And basically what it does is it numbs your senses to a sense. So it makes it harder to perceive reality, which is the hallucinogenic pieces, right? But it also, that extends to like your feeling, your sense of touch. So you're able to resist pain easier.
So it'd be like a very high dosage of anesthetic. So things for like going against the scorn and getting anything like fighting them and getting a serious injury, you can do major surgeries on this backwater planet.
Oh, use it to make like an impromptu stem pack.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking of where it was like a healing thing, like where it give you back wounds.
I wouldn't think.
But I'm thinking of either it's going to upgrade a resilience check.
I'm almost thinking like the epinephrine shots they give, like, you know, soldiers and stuff if they're badly wounded. This isn't going to actually, you know, save your life, but it'll keep you alive longer until we can find something that will.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a temporary hip wounds.
Like
kind of
adrenaline.
thing or
Would
something
definitely
like that.
help with like the farms that are like further out from like the hospital. So like we don't have enough time. It can prolong it for them to make that journey.
Yeah, so it could probably give you temporary wounds, is what I was thinking. Or I was thinking either that or an increased soak while you're using it.
But you said the scientists had already looked at it.
No, they
looked
were,
at the land.
Yeah, they did stuff
They
with
didn't
the
look, because when they
environment.
came and surveyed and did their tests, it was just because they were the Republic and they cared about knowledge. All of a sudden, plants that had been here for centuries or millennia all of a sudden started growing flowers.
Right, that's weird.
Why? And then it wasn't up until, in the chronologically speaking, it wasn't up until a few years ago that some guy decided that he could turn that into a drug. But, you know, it is, I did base it on crystal meth or meth, so it needs stuff added to it to get it to the point to where it's actually usable as a drug. If you just ate it right now or smoked it right now or whatever you would do, you probably wouldn't get anything out of it.
Maybe indigestion.
When it's combined with other chemicals and things of that nature, then it becomes something more, and it becomes that hallucinogenic. And I think I like the idea of it giving temporary wounds.
Interesting.
For a pharmaceutical purpose, though, does it need all those things added to it?
It would still need some help. It would still need some help.
Probably need, I don't know, maybe a dosage of stim packs, because stim packs, like, how I always see the stim packs, even though you get back that health, it's still, flavor-wise, you're still burned up and beat up, so maybe whatever chemical that's in stim packs added to it would give that temporary thing, and you would also have that bonus, like, even though you can use it more than once, it would only give you, like, smaller dosage of hit points back.
I don't think it would do anything more than the initial boost. For game balance, you know, you shoot it up and you've got, you know, 3 or 4 or maybe even 5 extra wounds for the scene. But the offset to that would be that, and Dale can tell you that the people that are on it, it's highly addictive. So that's the drawback. And that may even extend into the practical medical application. So if you used it in, you know, an actual medical purpose, you could accidentally addict your patient. Right. So kind of like super morphine. Because I want there to be some hefty drawbacks.
Well, it would definitely be used for, like, emergency situations anyways, like morphine is.
Right.
Well, Lan his intention is not for us to use it.
Well, if we can go about it, say, in a legal manner and sell push a pharmaceutical opposed to, you know, a drug that's killing people on the streets and promoting violence.
Right. Well, I don't know that it's a legal issue, because spice is legal, maybe more of a moral dilemma than a legal one.
Right.
Obviously, the good senator here has some trepidation about selling drugs. It's my intention to alleviate any misgivings about someone we'd sell this to.
Yeah. Dr. Riskers would want to do it the legit way anyways.
Where are we having this conversation, by the way?
I don't know. I'm not here.
You guys, Dr. Risker's in the lab.
Right.
So
we probably need to have more of a private conversation.
Well, this conversation probably needs to take place after Dr. Risker's completed all the tests that he can complete, and then it would be in Dell's house.
All right, then I
where
want
it's
to
just you guys talking.
I have charts that I drew.
Out of crayon.
Crayon. That's all I had. I don't have pen. And also, his drawings are really bad, so they're like all stick figures, and he's the one that is like the buffest looking.
It's all 4 of us holding hands.
Yes.
Meadow.
Yes. And like
he's like the buffest. He's like twice as tall as everybody else.
And Bog is like knee high to the rest of the group.
And he uses a lot of big words you don't understand until one of you finally says English. And he explains that it can be used as basically a morphine.
And it's important to know that this is still that first day that you got here.
It's been a very eventful day.
Yeah, it's starting to get dark out.
Does it ever? I'm just wondering, does it ever get darker out here?
Well, we're on a weird tilted axis, so no, ever. No, it's starting to get dark now.
Okay. Well, after that conversation, I guess I'll go find Dale and see.
Well, I mean, before we go back to the senator and stuff, because we've kind of absorbed a lot of, there's a lot of information we've had since then we kind of need to absorb. These people are under constant attack from these drug lords here. I mean...
Right. It's something I wanted to talk to him about, exactly how we could help him, but we're smugglers. We're not mercenaries.
But...
Right, but maybe... you can talk reason to him. I mean, maybe we can... If this drug thing comes out, and it's the moral high ground, maybe you can talk some sense into him that it's more profitable to do the moral thing and live longer than to take the, short lifespan of a crime lord. Maybe we can make some... I don't know. It's what you do, man. Make sense out of it.
Bog, I tried to stop making sense of what you said a long time ago.
Oh, snap.
I kid.
But seriously.
No, I agree with you. I'm just trying to look out for us a little bit.
Well, of course. I'm not saying anything against that. I'm just saying that, if we can help these people out in the process.
Because we want this farm to stay afloat, right? And I mean, because if we're going to have this medicine going out, we're going to be the people that ship it, and we'll get the fee. And if we have these other people just start attacking them, and then that's bad for us and bad for them. So really, the best option, and he kind of turns away, is to get rid of those other people.
What do you think, Draco?
You guys are having this conversation, just the four of you, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I never thought I would say this, but I agree with the doctor.
See, wait. What do you mean?
I know that's hard to believe, but
And we're talking about eliminating the other people.
The drug lord
we just want to talk.
here's the
Make me a bluff check, a deception check. No, I'm kidding.
here's the problem. We don't have the money to hire the guns to take, even if we took Dale
farm.
and his
I knew it.
people out, we couldn't defend it from the drug lords, who are fine people, I am sure.
I want the audience to know that Driskers is giving a very confused. Wait, are we agreeing on the same thing? Look to Draco. 'Cause
Yes, but for clearly different reasons.
So
arched brow, mouth agape, one ear turned inside out.
if we attempted this, we would need more muscle, and we would need to do it in a correct order, which would be either overthrow the drug lords or have enough muscle to defend the farm after we overthrew Dale.
Kind of look over at Lan. You ever feel like sometimes we're trying to meet in the middle from different edges of the empire?
Yes.
I don't think I like Dale, and he has a family here, and I don't think we want to get rid of this perfectly nice human being. Now these drug lords, they're shooting people, they're ruining their homestead, they're awful people. I mean, it's what we need to do is to help the farmer Dale and his family, and the way to do that would be to eliminate the problem. Oh God! The taste in my mouth saying that.
It's the sand. But maybe we can just talk to these folks. I mean, there's no reason that we have to. We don't have to jump to the violence. I mean,
Fog, remember how they tried to talk to the senator?
hey,
They shot their guy.
We had, well, not me personally, but we had a charming conversation with those scavengers back there, in that nobody got blasted.
It's true. Unfortunately, we didn't get anything out of that. But you know what? There's always other opportunities.
You know what? We didn't have to kill them to keep our ship and our hides, which I think is a lot, considering they look like they wanted our ship pretty bad.
I'd say that's a win. Back to the problem at hand. I like Dale. I think he's someone that we could work with. Not that I trust anybody, but I would rather work with him, I think, than a bunch of drug lords that just want to shoot people anyway.
Right.
I don't particularly like being shot.
He isn't going to give it up, though.
If we find the right buyer, he will.
If
The pharmaceutical angle is better than he'd be more willing to help people than to give it drug. I mean, money's money either way you look at it, and the moral high ground to get it is he'll be more cooperative.
this isn't the only farm either.
Right, but I believe this is one of the last holdout farms that the drug lords haven't already killed everybody and taken possession of, based on the information that I remember from the storyteller.
The best deal we could hope for is go talk to the drug lord and run his stuff. We can make money that way. That's the only non-violent way we're getting out of this. Not that I would know anything about that.
Well, I mean, we could just pack up our ship and leave if we want a non-violent route, but I mean, we're more looking at
Profit.
whatever it is that helps us sleep at night, I guess.
Well, what I'm looking at is good enough profit that doesn't get me killed. It don't have to be the best profit. It don't have to be the most money we can possibly make.
Right.
It can be just enough to just make some money, and I don't get killed in the process. That's what I'm looking for.
You get the most profit out of
So-
pharmaceuticals anyways. I mean, you go through a legit channel. We don't have to worry about, paying anyone that's like us to smuggle things places, because
They're just going to bypass us.
You mean Dale?
No, the pharmaceuticals.
Ah.
We don't own the flowers, the land, the farm.
Well,
Yeah.
we could. I mean, the senator could probably
Make a deal with the senator then. Get on his good side. See if
patent it and
Yeah, that
work
ain't
out
happening.
well, if we stop trying to steal his farm out from under him, you should really stop talking about killing the man's family and taking his farm and his house. That
I
would be
didn't
step
mention
one.
killing anybody. I just said eliminate.
Except for him and his family.
All right.
I do like that idea, Vog, of getting on his good side. However, I'm a little hurt here that you don't think I can find somebody to buy this product that would look out for us. What kind of business do you think I'm running here, Draco?
oh no, they're fighting.
Mom, Dad, please stop fighting.
All I'm saying is, why would they go through us to get to Dale when they could just make...
Because we have something that none of the other competitors have.
That's right.
Land.
Lan Kai.
Okay, so we need to go talk to the drug lord. Perhaps Lan should speak to him. Pull him off of Dale. That'll get Dale on our good side.
Right.
We can run his drugs for him and then go speak to a pharmaceutical.
Oh wait, all right. When we say drugs, are the pharmaceutical drugs, or I'm confused. Can we use
Spice.
the chart?
Yes.
Can we use
Yes.
the charts? I have plans.
Spice. Yes.
Spice. Wait, we're smuggling spice. I'm so confused.
That certainly is another opportunity.
But I thought we wanted to do.
We can do both. I'm just saying.
And if it stops a conflict,
But
would
what
you
if-
say that'd be worth it in the long run?
But what if Dale finds out that we're cheating on him with the drug cartel?
We're not cheating on anybody with anything. This is not I didn't make any commandment. Do you see a ring on my...
If you want to save Dale and his family from these folks, because these guys aren't going to stop, they're not playing, you're going to have to build up a relationship with this organization. And the best way to do that is to run their spice.
I guess that makes sense. I mean, doesn't really feel that great, but I mean, if it's the only way to help Dale.
Well, that certainly is an option. Something that we can try if it saves Dale's farm and doesn't get us killed in the process.
I do like living.
I think we're planning way too far in the future. We just need to take this a step at a time and see where we can get with this.
Well,
whoever the crime fella is.
we have the pharmaceutical drug. I can guarantee it. It does have slightly addictive effects, but if it's used in the proper way that, I've detailed, it can do well for this planet and Dale's farm and us, potentially. So I guess we'll just move forward with that, and for now.
Yeah, I'll work on contacting somebody that I know, see if we can move that forward. As far as the other part, it's going to rely largely on what Dale has to say. I'm not sure what he wants us to do for him. If just getting them to leave him alone is what he wants, then that's certainly an option.
I don't see what else he'd want from him. I think he's just a senator looking to an ex-senator trying to make his living in his place like the rest of us.
All right, well, let's go talk to him about it.
I'm going to bed. It's night.
Well, I'm hungry.
I second that motion.
I am hungry too.
Let's see.
What do I got to eat around here?
Sandfish.
Ironically enough, they have some nice marinated fried cactus. And
Chewy.
the look on your face says it all, because it's like, we're not having cake. It's very disappointing. And they have some meat, it's one of the desert dwelling camel-like creatures. You're beginning to notice a trend here is that despite the fact that this is a very harsh environment, there are things that are living at the top of their pyramid that are very tough and survival creatures. They're survivors. Because you look at a planet like this and you go, well, this is just a big hostile desert, but
Not true. They also have volcanoes.
they do have volcanoes. There are people here who are surviving. There's also a pretty healthy animal life that's thriving. In addition, there's also some plant life that's surviving or thriving as well, and even adapting to change. So to look around and go, this is not even worth noticing until you really start looking at details. You're like, everything here is an
So
apex.
magical.
Whatever. It's so magical. It's almost like it's just made up.
Not what I said.
But so when you guys go to dinner, and it's at Dale's house, he makes it a point, and it's not every night that he does it because it's a business and his livelihood and everything, but, at least once a week, once every 2 weeks, he does like a big dinner for everybody who lives on the compound. It's kind of a thing of good faith and, hey, we're all in this together kind of deal. So, of course, you guys are invited. They've got one of the camel-like creatures that they use as mounts, and they're basically a cross between a cow and a horse in purpose because they can milk them to get milk, and then you can ride them, and then you can eat them. I mean, they serve so many different purposes, like most things around here. And they've got one that they've cooked up here for you, along with some of the vegetables, mainly cacti. But anything else that they've got, they would have had to have bought in town, and it would have been imported here, especially stuff that, the potato equivalent, the other things, the whatever.
Any kind of fruit or
anything like that is imported.
The squat tato.
Right. So you guys sit down to a pretty good spread. There's lots of food. They've even imported or brought in some of the ale, beer type stuff that you guys recall drinking with the Duros.
Oh, God.
Oh, I'm not touching any of that. No way.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I mean they're not drinking it quite to the extent that the tier was.
Isn't this like the same, this is the night, and it was that morning we woke up. This is the same morning we woke
Yes.
up. Yeah, no,
They're drinking it, but they're using a whole lot of moderation. They're not drinking it like slamming them like you guys were. They're taking a sip and eating and then taking another sip. And then when it's all over and you guys can chit chat, kind of do small talk, you meet Dale's entire family. You get to meet his wife, who is Borina. Then, of course, some of you may have already met Saren. If you haven't, you meet her. Then the middle child is a son named Drod, and then the oldest daughter, Sala, is married to a fella named Klain, and that's the son-in-law that you guys met earlier. And then there's the 10 additional workers.
See, I told you, Saren's single, not married to anyone.
Well, you never know what happens with Lane.
There are 10 workers, and they're comprised of a couple of families, which would account for 4, and then the other 6 are, single, just workers. There are also 5 additional guards that they use as the security detail that report to Klain, which is Dale's son-in-law. And then there are 3 children that are around the 10 to 15-year-old range, the kids that you saw earlier today. Mm-hmm. So you meet all these people, and they're nice people. They're farmhands, but they have a good dinner, and you guys are able to chit chat. You guys eat, and they've opened the windows because at night there's a nice cool breeze, and it's a real good break from the heat of the day. And as you guys are sitting there, and you've just finished, Dale stands up and he goes, in honor of our new friends, and he gestures to you for the party, the group. We're going to break out a special surprise for everybody, and he goes to a cart.
scored.
Right. He brings a cart over and pulls the top off, and there is a large pitcher, it's glass of water with it's all frosty, and it looks like ice cubes are in it. So it's nice and frosty, and then there's some kind of weird fruit that he's cut up in the top of it and put it down, and he pours everybody in a tumbler, a big glass of water. And nobody drinks yet. They just, kind of hold on to it until everybody gets their water.
We'll do the same. We'll try to.
And then he pours himself one. He's last. He's had like probably 2 or 3 pitchers of water there. He says, to good fortunes and new friends, as he holds his cup up, and everybody does, and everybody clinks them together, and you take a drink. Some of you probably take longer draws from the cup than others. Some of you might sip.
No, I lap.
You lap, but...
Because I'm a dog.
Or Bothan. Either way, you Bothan dog, you. As you guys are, taking your drinks, and you can tell everybody's really enjoying it. It seems like it's a real treat. There is, because the windows are open, you can hear the desert and stuff outside. There is a blood-curdling scream that takes place beyond the walls of the compound. And for all intents and purposes, it sounds like a woman, a human woman, and she screams out like, nobody's business, and it makes your blood run cold. I mean, if you had hair on the back of your neck, it would stand up, and that's how unsettling it is. And that's where we'll call this episode done.
That's so nerve-wracking.